attacks in the nation.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Aldean. ACC football on the ACC network, the only way I know.
Well, I grew up in one of them old farm towns where they hit it hard till the sun goes down. Humble pride I grew up on. You find out just how bad you want it. The sun in our eyes and backs to the fences. We didn't know the odds were against us. Hit the wall, smoking and spinning. Still wasn't thinking about nothing but winning. That's the only way I know. Don't stop till everything's gone. Straight ahead and never turn around. Don't back up, don't back down. A full throttle, wide open. You get tired and you don't show it. Dig a little deeper when you think you can't dig no more. That's the only way I know.
Can you believe it? Up moment, up mention.
That's the only way I know.
Touchdown! Touchdown! It's caught!
Oh, get on it one time.
Thank you very much, Jason Aldean. And the Duke Blue Devils getting ready to take the field. They're a win away from getting 4 in the season before their ACC season starts in earnest. And here come the midshipmen of Navy. With a win today, it'll equal their best start in 7 years. This is the 40th matchup between Navy and Duke. It's our ACC Game of the Week. Steve Martin here, along with Dave Archer and Rachel Barbeau. And big news from the top of the newscast here today, because we just found out just moments ago that Anthony Boone, who is a clear-cut favorite to start a quarterback for this season for Duke, has been granted permission to start today. He's going to go. Brandon Kennett will come off in relief. What does this mean for Duke?
Well, what it means is you get the quarterback that was originally supposed to be your starter. He will start. Now, his injury happened in week 2 at Memphis when he took the football in the snap and decided to keep on the zone read play, and then a late hit on the ground broke the collarbone. Now, he's way ahead of schedule to come back from the injury. And this is a guy that had 8 rushing touchdowns a year ago. This will be his 4th career start. But this is a kid that came off the bench and started for Renfrey a year ago against Virginia, was outstanding. This is the guy they wanted in the game.
And of course, he's 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. He's solid at that quarterback position, and in warm-up, he was zipping the ball out pretty well. Of course, for Navy to come in here at 3-1, defending them is all about assignment football, but they are all about assignment football as far as offense is concerned, according to Keenan Reynolds.
It's a great offense to watch, and there's some superlatives about it we tried to pick out for you. And this offense is about being relentless across the board, but mainly up front. They're usually undersized, but they will get after you every snap. And they've got an instinctive guy squeezing the trigger. That's Keenan Reynolds. His understanding of how to run the triple option. Here got the pitch to Damon Brown, a touchdown a week ago against the Air Force. Now, they've got to have a tough guy at fullback that'll get the tough yards for you, that'll pound it up inside, but he's also going to block on the edge along with the slot backs and wide receivers. You've got to be able to get people on the ground to get the running lanes. But make no mistake, the guy running the boiler room on this ship is Keenan Reynolds, their quarterback.
No doubt about that. And the Duke Blue Devils haven't had a reputation for running the football, but David Cutcliffe has changed them in that direction. With more on that story, let's turn it down to Rachel Barbeau.
You're absolutely right, Steve. David Cutcliffe is known as one of the best offensive minds in the college football game, and his plan is a balanced passing attack and a balanced rushing attack. And you're right, they haven't had that here, but times they are changing. They're 4th in the ACC in rushing, averaging almost 200 yards a game. How do they do that? With 4 sets of fresh legs. They'll start Josh Snead today. They have praised his ball handling capabilities and his ability to be able to catch the ball. Steve?
All right, thank you very much, Rachel. And what about Navy's ability to hold on to the football and Duke's ability to be able to know what's coming up, because they've already played an option team in Georgia Tech?
Well, you hear every coach talk about taking care of the football, and that's something that Navy does an extremely good job of. Only 3 turnovers on the year. Now, the weather is a little wet, so you've got some wetness on the field, obviously a little drizzle coming down. Ball security will be a premium today.
All right, Navy's going to kick off first, and we're ready to go. Navy won the toss, and they deferred their option to the second half, and Duke will get ready to bring it back here. So the Blue Devils on offense, first of all, wearing their black uniforms. Shaquille Powell and Devon Edwards are the deep backs. We're ready to go. There's the kick. Taken at the 7-yard line. Nice return coming out. And a flag thrown in at the 33-yard line. Edwards with the return. It's a gain of 30, but we'll see what the flag is to determine if that's going to be the final spot.
During the return. Holding. Return team. Number 21. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Let's have a look at our starting lineups presented by CPI Security, protecting what's important, and really lots of experience in this offensive line, especially with Perry Simmons.
Well, Perry Simmons, 42 consecutive starts. When you look at their backs and receivers, that's a veteran group up front. But the backs and receivers, Jamison Crowder is the headliner there. A number of guys can make some plays, but Crowder, number 3, is the big time.
And, of course, at quarterback, Anthony Boone. He's a junior out of Weddington, North Carolina, in the Charlotte area. He's operating out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. 6 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. And he was injured in the second game of the season. His first is a pass out there to Crowder. And Crowder gets across the 20-yard line. And let's take a look at the scouting report on Anthony Boone.
He's got a big arm, outstanding arm, NFL-style arm, very athletic. He fits exactly what they want to do. Now, game speed, a little rusty, hasn't been playing. So where will he fit in? But off to a good start. Get him a quick throw. Kurt Roper, the offensive coordinator, gets him an early throw, get him in the rhythm of the game.
Scored on the ground twice already this season, Arch, in just a game and a half. Go on 2nd down. This one, pass is complete. It's taken there by Brandon Braxton. He gets out to about the 39-yard line. Good enough for a first down. And a gain of 18 to move the chains. Ferguson on the tackle. Let's take a look at our CPI starting lineups defensively. It's a 3-man front for Navy.
Sarah, a big guy up front. Great set of linebackers will fly around. Chris Johnson with 3 interceptions on the year. And the secondary, very disciplined, take care of business. Wave Ryder, all-name team in the secondary.
And his brother is Blaze. 1st and 10 from the 38. Boone is thrown on every play, and his pass from Blakeney is incomplete. So Boone with 3 passes right off the bat.
Yeah, Kurt Roper didn't waste any time, the OC here for Duke, to get Boone in a rhythm. Quick throw to Crowder, and then an excellent throw to wait for him to clear the linebacker on the next play on 2nd down. Here misses on a little bubble screen, but Boone off to a good start.
Here's a little screen pass out there to Blakeney again. He's got some running room, still up on his feet at the 43. And he's brought down there. Cody Peterson got after him for the tackle. It's a gain of 4.
This is a very disciplined defense, as you can imagine, for Navy. They have an understanding of spacing, where they're supposed to be. It's not an overly aggressive blitz-style defense. They'll mix in some pressure looks, but they do an excellent job. Number 46, Chris Johnson, outstanding ball skills as a linebacker. He's lined up right here over the slot area.
You saw that graphic. Duke, pretty good job at turning 3rd to 1st. Boone fires, pass complete. They've done just that here at the Navy 46-yard line. The pass to Crowder is good for 15. And Duke continues to move the chains.
Well, you got to love the way Boone's standing. Remember, coming back from the broken collarbone, takes a little bit of pressure there, but stands in there strong and throws the curl route. Nice job by Crowder to come inside and get that next window. You can already see Boone really dialed in early. Very impressive with being off as long as he's been.
Ooh, snap came up a little early. He hands off to Sneed, and they still get positive yardage out of it. About 5 yards down to the 39-yard line. Sargenti on the tackle along with Cody Peterson.
Yeah, this catches him by surprise. He's calling out a couple of assignments up front right there, and next thing the ball was coming right at him. Skura hits him with the ball, but nice job of adjusting, and Sneed gets a good first down pickup.
That was the first true rush of this game. Here's the second. This is Crowder on the end around. Crowder carrying people with him. First guy to hit him was Ferguson. And then Ryder completed the hit, but a 10-yard gain for Duke, and they're pushing the ball downfield.
They're going to get the jet sweep here to Crowder. Want to get him the ball any way you can. He got a great block out in front by Josh Sneed and by the offensive line.
Back the other way. The pass out there to Braxton. It's out there for a 3-yard gain. The ball at the 27 of Navy.
Well, the early success with Boone has allowed Kurt Roper now to really start spreading the ball all over. We've seen already a number of different play calls in this drive alone because of the success on first down and the fact Boone's come out hot.
Maybe didn't expect to see Boone. Wasn't expected back for 6 weeks. Hand off right up the middle. Goes to Josh Snead, starting tailback. Snead out of Smithfield, North Carolina, gets a 4-yard gain.
Cody Peterson, the middle linebacker, senior, outstanding football player, makes a tackle right there. There's Brandon Connett, 370 yards passing in his first 3 games, over 640 in his last 2. He's been hot, but they decided Boone was the guy they wanted in the game.
Well, Boone won the spot at the beginning of the season, but Connett will get his licks in there, not only as a thrower, but as a receiver and a variety of roles. Braxton with a catch down to the 18-yard line. Let's go to the sidelines and Rachel Barbeau.
Yeah, Steve, Coach Cutcliffe has really praised the unselfish nature of this football team and how they really are a team. We met with Brandon Connett yesterday. He was planning on getting the start, but he said right before he walked into the meeting, he got a text from Anthony Boone that said, let's go win this one as a team. I tell you, it's just such a great quality to see in this team.
Well, we're going to see him in a variety of positions here today, Rachel. It's been his MO throughout his career here at Duke. He's a junior, and he's a guy who can run the football. He's a guy who can catch passes, and he scored touchdowns in 3 different ways for Duke during his tenure.
Now the pass play in the flat from Boone, it looks like it's just short, and so Duke will have a decision to make here early. I think he'd go ahead and go for it. A lot of momentum here early in the game. In fact, Boone, who's now stepping under center to take some snaps, would be an indication he's been practicing some snaps under center. He's been taking a lot of stuff out of the gun.
Well, you've run 10 plays. You've come after a penalty set you back to your own 20-yard line. You're at the Navy 18, 19-yard line now. Let's see what Boone can concoct here that can keep the ball in Duke's hands after this play.
Yeah, this smells like a quarterback sneak from Boone, although are you willing to send Boone in just coming off a collarbone on a QB sneak because they have their smaller back in the game. Josh Snead is the smaller tailback in the game.
Boone's going to throw, or at least look like. Tries to turn the corner, and is he going to get enough? I don't think so. And Bernard Serra points to the out-of-bounds spot.
I'm not sure why Boone doesn't hit Braxton Deaver in the flat. He's wide open for the first down. So here, a little bit of the rustiness we talked about. Boone doesn't realize. Now, Deaver, 89, is wide open in the flat. Give him the football. He doesn't throw it to him, so now Deaver says, I better get a block because Boone's going to run it. Really a poor decision by Anthony Boone right there.
Well, Duke gives it up on downs. Navy gets it. When we come back, there's no score here in Durham. And there's the pregame walk by the Duke Blue Devils. David Cutcliffe leading his team into Wallace Wade Stadium. And, of course, our pink line today, you see our First and 10 line pink, October Breast Cancer Month. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we want to salute the many ongoing efforts to defeat this disease. You know, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. First and 10, Navy at the 22-yard line. They stop Duke successfully on the 11th play of their drive, going for first down. And this is our first look at Keenan Reynolds. Reynolds hands off. First man through was Chris Swain. And Swain gets a nice chunk of yardage, close to a first down, gain of 9 or 10. Let's take a look at our CPI starting lineups now for the Navy offensive line. This is, by and large, a young group.
Well, Fleming and Zuzek are the guys that have started the most up front. We talked about they're going to come after you all day long. And they've got a number of guys that can make big plays. You just saw Swain hit it straight ahead there for 9, or make that 10, got the first down. It's a really solid group that knows their job.
They got the first down, first and 10. The ball of the nose of the football at the 32. Comes Reynolds, still with the football. He's going to keep it. And he is tackled and brought out of bounds at the 37-yard line by Williams, Deion Williams. A gain of about 5 yards on, 6 yards on the play. Let's take a look at our CPI starting defense now. Good front four for Duke.
Well, veteran group up front, and their linebackers are going to have to play well. Deion Williams in particular, he's playing because of injury. And in the back end, Jeremy Cash, number 16, is going to have to make a lot of tackles to play.
An injury to Kelby Brown. Here is Reynolds on the keep, and he is trapped in the backfield by Justin Fox. No gain on the play.
It's a nice play by Justin Fox. If you could get a win up front on the defensive side, plays off the block and is able to knife in and get the play on Keenan Reynolds. Keenan Reynolds is the guy that tremendous athlete, excellent runner, and what the coaches love about him is he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a heady player, does a good job of throwing the football away when he needs to. He's a good passer. He makes a lot of really good decisions as a sophomore quarterback.
270 yards in the air against Delaware. So he can throw it when he has to. And he kind of has to here. Scrambling in the backfield, thrown while he was in the grass. And picking him up there was Justin Fox.
Well, there's one of those decisions, Steve. Throw the football away. Didn't have it. They wanted screen to the near side, but Fox wins immediately. So Reynolds realized, hey, let me minimize damage, throw the football away. Good job by Duke there to rise up on third in about 4 or 5 to get them off the field.
Well, they give him a first down, but nothing more. Pablo Beltran, an outstanding punter. Look at that average, 45.8. His longest this year is 59.
If he had enough punts, he would be 8th in the country. Just doesn't have enough punts to qualify for the number.
A test to your offense. Here's McCaffrey. Max McCaffrey gathers some steam and then some Navy tacklers, and they'll bring him down at the 23-yard line. Tackle made on the play by Meyer Craw, who is from here in the Durham area. 46-yard punt and just an 8-yard return. Let's see Duke offensively for their second time around when we come back. Scoreless game here in Durham, Duke and Navy. Let's take a look at our 4 keys to the game. What's important for Navy to win this game today?
Well, naval time. That means take care of the football and own the clock like they normally do. They love to maximize their time with the football. And Duke, you better be at your post against this Navy team on the defensive side. Better take care of your job.
Shaq Powell is a setback now for Anthony Boone, who started this game. Here comes a pass, and it is incomplete. Intended for Brandon Braxton. Duke moved the ball 11 plays and then fell short on 4th and 1.
Couldn't tell whether that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage or not. I was trying to get the ball to Brandon Braxton. Actually had him open down the seam, and the ball just slipped out of his hands. There has been a lot of moisture in the air, ball on the ground. Might have been when it slipped out of Anthony Boone's hand.
And we had some pretty heavy drizzle here just before noon today. It is tapered off a bit. Comfortable day to play, though, about 66 degrees. Boone looking at 2nd and 10. Hand off Powell. And Powell makes some nice yardage. Peterson brings him down, and it's going to be about an 8-yard gain for Shaquille Powell. Here's an offensive profile for this Duke football team. That 4th in the ACC in rushing is quite a victory for them.
Absolutely. They've got 3 players over 240 yards rushing. Rachel talked about the diversity with the backs, a lot of different qualities that the 4 backs have, and that's something David Cutcliffe is excited about, that they're a two-way go now on offense.
Here comes the pass, Boone out to McCaffrey, complete. He's at the 40 and brought down. He'll be marked out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. A gain of 9 on the play. Ferguson with the tackle.
Well, you'll see a lot of these screens. Duke does an excellent job of blocking on the perimeter, and then a good job by McCaffrey to get that block and then get to the sideline, pick up as much as he could out of the play, extend the drive. That's an extension of their run game as well, the screen game, and they do an excellent job with it.
When they've been successful with the ball on first down, they've pretty much moved the chains on first down. 6 yards shy of midfield. That's Powell in motion. That's a big rush and a sack right there. DJ Sargenti. What a play by the senior out of Richfield, New Jersey.
Well, Sargenti, we talked about these linebackers. They do an excellent job. Here's Sargenti going to just shoot the A-gap. Picks the timing. Actually going to go on the other side, but it is an A-gap blitz. And nobody picked him up. Did a nice job of crossing with the nose tackle. And Sargenti makes a big play here on first down for this Navy defense. They don't blitz a lot. They'll come with a lot of single backer dogs, but they pick the time. They get excellent timing. It's a veteran group of linebackers.
He wiped all but 1 of the yards gained on the previous play. Play action for Boone. Boone steps up and not going far. Same guy. Sargenti's going to bring him down.
Boone with the football, once again being met
He barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's how they get to a 4-man rush. They do an excellent job of disguising who that 4th rusher is going to be. It's Sargenti again. He's going to bang the back as he's coming out, the check down, and then he gets in on the tackle late. And again, another indication that Boone still trying to adjust vision-wise to what he's seeing. He actually had Powell open on the check down and just never looked his way.
3rd down and long. About 18. Powell to throw. Little screen out there complete. It's going to be to Crowder. Crowder gets it up over the 45, about the 46, 47-yard line. 11-yard gain.
That's an excellent job by Navy's defense of coming in and not allowing the field position to be a problem for them. They came in and got the stop, force a chance here to punt and get the ball back.
Sean Lynch is back in punt formation for Navy. Will Monday will punt it away for the Duke Blue Devils. And Monday in excellent field position, gets a pretty good kick away. Fair catch called for, and it's brought down at the 13-yard line. It'll be a punt of 42 yards. Huck up there, almost 5 seconds. All right, there's the bust of Eddie Cameron outside of Cameron Indoor Stadium. Back after this word from your local ACC stadium. Stop drizzling right now. Keenan Reynolds, our second look at him now as the Navy offense takes the field after a Duke punt. First and 10 at the Navy 13. And this is going to be Reynolds on the key. I'll tell you what, Reynolds is pretty good at selling those ball fakes inside.
Well, and what they'll do is they'll wear you out with the 4, 3, 4, 5-yard runs. And we talked about Keenan Reynolds and the way he plays the game, heady player. He understands it's okay to get 4 or 5.
And you know, all of their backs, they have 3 backs who average 10 yards a carry. This is Swain. He's close to the first down. He's very close to it. AT&T presents Be the Fan. End of the sweepstakes every week by Tackling Coaches Challenge. Share your entry with a hashtag Be the Fan, and you could win a VIP trip to the biggest game of the week. Visit attbethefan.com for official rules. It is a first down for Duke. Oh, for Navy, right? Navy first and 10. They're out over the 23. Reynolds 3 play fakes and a pass, and it is complete. Brought down by Sanders. Brandon Sanders gets the catch.
Well, Brandon Sanders is just going to come out of the backfield. He was lined up behind the quarterback. He's going to come out and run a little wheel route. Excellent job with making the catch along the sideline.
Copeland with the tackle as they come back very quickly here on first down at their own 45. The gain on the play was 21 on the pass play.
You know, it's an interesting way that Navy plays offense because you talk about them eating clock, but they do play with pace. They play at the line of scrimmage. There's no huddling anymore. They stay at the line, look to the sideline, get the call, and then they come at you.
And the way they go, they're not going to go out of bounds very often.
This time the handoff goes to number 24, Ryan Williams-Jenkins.
Ryan Williams-Jenkins is there to make the play. Let's take a look at the midshipman offensive profile and the amount of yards that they get on the ground.
Now they come in 8th in the country running the football. Coach Niumatalolo does an outstanding job with this group. By the way, went into the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him. There have been a lot of great players from Polynesian descent, and he went into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Reynolds on the carry of about 3. He's been there 16 years.
Yep, Kenny Niumatalolo does an outstanding job. Jeremy Cash right here, the safety. He's going to have to make plays. And he stepped in and made a play there on 3rd down, forced the 4th down situation.
They keep pushing the chains out there. It's Copeland, the man who makes 3 yards, what they needed for first down, first and 10.
And Copeland comes in at the full. They're going to rotate Copeland to Swain. Swain the starter. Copeland comes in. There's an outstanding 2 big-bodied fullbacks. They're going to pound you straight ahead.
They'll go right at you with Swain this time. And Swain picks up 6 or 7 yards. As you said, Arch, they're only going to pick up 5 to 7 yards, but it all adds up, and it takes a while to do it.
Well, playing that fullback position, and you see Paul Johnson's offense at Georgia Tech. They call him the B-back. It's a guy that has got to be a tough guy that can twist, turn, knife, get those tough yards inside. Swain's that guy.
Niumatalolo succeeded Paul Johnson at Navy. Here comes the rush. It's going to be Marcus Thomas, and he gets close to the first down. Let's send you to our ACC studios, Tom and Tommy.
Thank you, Steve. Time for a Hyundai update. Pitt and Virginia Tech in the first quarter. Logan Thomas, 27 yards to Calvin Klein. Virginia Tech now with a 10-0 lead. It's midway through the second.
Wow, kind of surprised. It'd be interesting to see if Pitt can get their receivers going today against one of the best defenses in the country, let alone the ACC. Swain is close to the first down and has it again, and now Navy has marched this football arch from their own 13.
Well, and this is the part we talked about off the top. They keep coming at you. They're relentless. So now defensively, Duke going to have to bow their back a little bit and try to find a play. Navy wants to stay on schedule with the chains. That means 3 and 4 yards of play.
Here comes Reynolds. And Reynolds got horse collared there from behind to being brought down.
It looked like Desmond Johnson may have got him around the face mask, maybe.
There's a penalty flag.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 42. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And that's a big gainer right there. Inside the 30. That takes it down to about the 15-yard line.
Really a good play by Desmond Johnson to win at the line of scrimmage as the defensive lineman, but then was a little reckless with his hands and got in on Keenan Reynolds' face mask. Really did a pretty good job initially, but did not finish the play the way David Cutcliffe wanted him to finish it.
12th play on the march. Oh, that went nowhere.
Well, Jeremy Cash, the safety, is going to knife in. He's got to play big today. He actually blitzes right through the B gap and blows his hole up. Let's take a listen. Copeland actually lucky to hang on to the football right there. Big time play from the Ohio State transfer.
So much noise, my shoulder hurts. Try to draw Duke offside. We've got all kinds of flags here. Motion, I think Navy went ahead.
Full start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Jeff McConaughey is our lead official today, and we have only about 3 seconds remaining. This is a Navy team that hasn't had many penalties this year, maybe one a game.
No penalties, no turnovers. You would expect that. Great discipline from Navy.
That's the end of the
first quarter. Timeout.
So we've come to the end of the first quarter here at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. It's Navy and Duke in their 40th meeting of the school's history. There's no score in Durham. Score here in Durham, Navy and Duke. Duke has won the last 2 meetings between these two teams, outscoring in the first quarter. Navy has outscored their opponents 31-3. They are in the 13th play of this drive. 12 plays, 64 yards. They started at their own 13-yard line. Reynolds back to throw. Fires, pass incomplete. Let's take a look at our Food Line stats. Brought to you in the first quarter by Food Line. Just about even so far in this game.
Yeah, nothing to distinguish between the two teams there. You mentioned the fact that Navy's been unbelievable defensively, 3 points all year long. In the first quarter, they continued that role, but Duke's done a nice job to keep Navy off the board. Navy on a long march here now, an opportunity here on 3rd down to get off the field.
This is the longest march of the day, but they're looking at 3rd and 20. Reynolds has the pitch man, and he's driven out of bounds. He's going to be shy of the first down, I think, but he's going to have down to the 8-yard line. That's Copeland.
Well, you got man coverage on the outside, so nobody comes up for the pitch. He draws Helton 47 to him, does Keenan Reynolds, and then pitches the ball to Copeland. And Copeland close enough now where Navy will go.
They are going for it on 4th down and about a yard. Now we got a timeout here. Let's see what this pause is.
30-second timeout. Navy.
And Navy will talk it over.
Coach Niumatanolo came out and jumped right out there to burn that timeout.
Timeout on the field, and it's scoreless. Navy knocking on the door at 4th and 1. All right, longest march of the season. Ken Niumatalolo is going to kick a field goal. The person of Nick Sloan. His longest is 41, longest this season 33. This is 24. Flag on the play. The kick is good. Let's see what the flag is on the near sideline.
Maybe a freebie first down here if Duke's offside.
Legal formation offense. 5 players in the backfield. Replay 4th down.
Ooh. So this makes it a 29-yard attempt. And changes 4th and 1 to 4th and 6. Doesn't change the mission.
No, and obviously you reload and make him kick it again. We talked about the field being a little bit wet. They're a solid special teams unit.
Sloan is 3 of 4 on the season. This is his career 13 of 19. And this is from 29. Kick is up. He did not get it. Wow.
Well, that's why you re-kick it.
Costly penalty.
Yeah.
And so with that, we'll take a break. Duke will come out on the field when we get back with a breath of fresh air. And there's no score in Durham. Taj Boyd has thrown 87 touchdown passes in his career. Andre Williams, Boston College, ran for 263 last week against Army. 1st and 10, Duke. Boone back to pass with a big rush on. Nice catch by Braxton.
Steve, we'll go back. Here's Ken Niumatalolo talking. He wants to talk to the head linesman, or I'm sorry, the line judge. They bring him across. It's a call that you probably could make on every field goal, and that's just what his frustration is. And ultimately, they told him he had too many people in the backfield, but he wanted to read. He said, make sure you call that against Duke because they're going to line up the same way we do.
Handoff. Inside, that's going to be Juwan Thompson. Thompson pushes his way close to the first down. It's going to be a gain of 2. And I think he's going to be shy of the first down. Sargenti with the tackle. We've seen a lot of DJ Sargenti here in the early part of this game. This is a guy who was the 3rd linebacker at his spot beginning of the season. He's quickly moved up the list.
Well, he was a big-time special teamer a year ago. That's where he saw most of his action.
3rd down and inches now here for Duke. No score. Handoff, Thompson, big tackle, but it looks like forward progress is going to carry him to the first down. Quesaberry was right there with it.
Quesaberry is there to make the play. He's right here. He's going to play off the block, does a good job of getting off the block, makes the hit before the line with good power, good push to get the first down by Juwan Thompson.
1st and 10, Duke. Thompson again. And Thompson with big yardage this time. And now Duke does its Navy imitation.
Well, Juwan Thompson, Rachel talked about the backs, the 4-headed monster, if you will, that they've got at running back. And Juwan Thompson has been the kind of the guy left out. He hasn't gotten as many carries recently. It's been Josh Snead and Jalay Duncan. But Thompson's coming here showing, hey, I want to be in the game a little bit more. Run hard.
Senior from Fairburn, Georgia. Boone's going to throw this time. It is complete to Blakeney in the flats. He eludes one tackle and is driven out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Gain of about 2 on the play. Richardson on the tackle.
Well, it's just a screen that we've seen Duke do a great job of making some yardage, and Crowder misses the block on Bertrand. Bertrand does a good job of slowing the play down. Really wasn't much there, but they got enough for the first down.
Moves the chains out to the 43. That's Snead in motion. He'll get the pass in the flats. Nice catch, but to gather it in, he fell to the ground after a gain of about a yard.
Yeah, the key to these throws to the perimeter is an extended handoff, and so as a quarterback, the coach would say, hey, just make an accurate throw for me. Let him catch the ball and run with it. Obviously, ideally for Kurt Roper, here's Kurt right here, the offensive coordinator. Get the ball about a foot in front of his numbers, let him catch it running downhill. That time the ball too tall for Snead to catch and run.
Boone's thrown it 13 times. He's completed 12. Boone's going to keep this time. And steps out of bounds at the 47. Maybe that's in deference to that collarbone.
Well, anytime as a quarterback, Steve, I can attest this, you want to get out of bounds. you're not looking to run over anybody, but certainly in Boone's case, is they wanted him to minimize the damage, slide, do whatever he can. Remember, he's a baseball player, so does a nice job of getting out of bounds. Didn't have to slide there.
Third down and about 7. Duke 3 of 5 on third. Boone steps up, fires complete for Crowder at the 39-yard line of Navy.
Now, going to be critical for Duke to keep their spacing when they run a pass pattern, when they've got a number of players coming out. So good job by Deaver, widens the hole, the linebacker goes with him. Boone reads it properly and shoves it in the hole to Crowder.
And gets a 14-yard gain out of all that. Here's Crowder again. This time on a screen, ball pops loose. Who's got it? Navy's pointing their way. They'll unscramble him down there. Let's see. Haven't got an indication yet. Navy says they got it. We're still waiting for this. It's going to be Duke.
One of the big uglies got it. Looked like Max Skura. The center is going to come all the way over and get this football. Excellent job of getting the ball out. Looked like Sargenti, 52, rakes the ball out. But there you see Skura, 62 on the pile. The big center, and you like his chances anyway. He was the biggest guy in the pile, and he was able to come up.
You feel for Crowder, though. He took most of the hit on that play, and mostly from his center after he recovered the ball. Here's Thompson. Ooh, nice hole. He gets another first down at the Navy 29-yard line. So Duke doing a pretty good job of mixing it up. It's a 9-yard gain. Sargenti with yet another tackle.
Good vision here. Little counter play. Pulled Tomlinson out in front. And then Juwan Thompson goes straight ahead.
Pass complete. And it looks like Braxton got hurt.
He tried to put his foot in the ground there to make a cut, and it looked like his right ankle or knee gave out on him. Watch him plant the right foot right there.
Ooh.
Hyperextended the right knee. And just got out of bounds at that point.
He comes off to the sideline.
We were here a few weeks ago. Brandon Braxton had a 75-yard touchdown play.
Blakeney will take his spot right now, Arch. It's 2nd down and 9. Boone to throw. Boone has a man complete. Blakeney for the touchdown. An important score of 27 yards downfield. Important for the Duke Blue Devils, who on their 3rd possession finally cash it in.
Good ride fake. Gets the linebackers to step up. Good patience by Boone to let Blakeney clear Peterson, the linebacker, and then just down the seam versus a single high safety. Excellent throw from Boone.
Ross Martin on to kick the extra point now for the Duke Blue Devils, who strike first here. 9:35 left to go in the first half of play. The kick is good. And the Duke Blue Devils strike first on the board and lead Navy 7-0 on this hookup. We'll be back after a word from your local ACC station. Duke has struck first on a 27-yard pass. Kick into the end zone. Thomas will take it, and that'll do it there. They'll get it out of the 25. Let's take a look at that touchdown pass by Duke.
Here's Isaac Blakeney. Because of the threat of run, no jam, he's just going to run the post right down through the middle on the safety. Takes a little bend to the outside, and at 6'6", Isaac Blakeney is the kind of target you want down the middle if you're Anthony Boone.
Anthony Boone, 12 plays, 80 yards. Boone, 7 of 7, including the 27-yarder. And if he's got a bad shoulder, he'd be hard-pressed to show it on that drive. Got a pitch late. It's going to come to the corner to Sanders. Sanders moves it out pretty nicely. This is how Navy gets yardage. It's 5, 6, 7, 8-yard increments.
Well, and if you give them a crease, they'll take it to the house. They got good speed at the slot back positions. What Duke is trying to do is they're trying to take Cash and Helton and try to flush inside to take away the inside run.
Here's Sanders again. He's got the first down and more onto the 42-yard line. Gain of 7. And let's go to our ACC studios and Tom Wormy.
Steve, thank you. Hyundai update, Pitt and Virginia Tech, and the Panthers are on the board. Chris Blewett, 47-yard field goal in the final seconds of the second quarter. 10-3 Virginia Tech at halftime.
Interesting game in Blacksburg. Of course, Virginia Tech, one of the top defensive teams, not only in the ACC, but the country. Here's the pitch off to the corner and possibly off to the races. That is Thomas down the sidelines, and they get him at the Duke 11-yard line. Cash making the tackle on Marcus Thomas.
Let's look at what Duke's trying to do. They're trying to take Helton. They're trying to flush to the inside with Helton and bounce the ball, but they're not getting there to take care of the pitch. Good hustle by Cash to run down the play from the backside, but Duke trying to blitz the B gaps and flush the ball outside, but nobody's there to take the pitch.
47-yard gain. First and 10, handoff straight ahead. That's going to be Swain. And Swain pushes his way to the 7-yard line. And defending the red zone, presented by CPI Security. How the Blue Devils done this year? 17 possessions. They've allowed 11 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 64%. And they defended it successfully last time by help of a penalty and a missed field goal. Second down. Reynolds pitches. And it is a touchdown, Navy. Darius Staten, just like that. You score, we'll score. A 7-yard run.
The way this offense for Navy adapts to what you're trying to do is a fun thing to watch. And what Duke is trying to do is they're trying to take away the inside run and force Keenan Reynolds to get it to the outside. He makes the pitch, but it's a long way for Kyler Brown, the linebacker, to go to make the play. Reynolds realizes that, so they're running it through the perimeter.
Nick Sloan for the point after. Kick is good, and we're all even here at Durham. All it took was a suggestion of a score. And this run by Marcus Thomas of 47 yards gave field position for this carry by Darius Staten. Getting ready for Navy's kickoff. We've had some scoring drives, 21, 16 for rush touchdowns, 3 in the air, and 2 in field goals, so they haven't been denied too many times.
Came in number 8 in the country in yards per game at just under 300 yards, and that series they got the ground game cranked up.
Oh, they did. 47-yard gain. Marcus Thomas set up the touchdown play of 7. It's going to be taken by Edwards, and Edwards breaks outside. Edwards brought down by the kicker. We have a penalty flag.
They're going to get a horse collar tackle here on the play. Looked like Reeby, the kickoff man, came down. He's going to get a horse collar. Watch him reach in behind. And it's a bad call. There was no horse collar on the play. Let's see if they adjust this, because the hand grabs the jersey under the shoulder pad. So the flag is for a horse collar, I think, is what the call is here. And Reeby didn't get it.
So they're discussing the situation. They haven't asked for a review here. Probably already is.
There are multiple fouls during the kick. Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. 43 on the kicking team. After the play was over, personal foul. Late hit, number 97 on the return team. The result of the penalties will be down.
So,
well, it bounces out, but Navy actually gets the short end of the stick there, because they did not have a penalty. But Steve, let's take a look at the last play. What Navy's trying to do, or what Duke's trying to do, is they're trying to run in here and take away the dive play. That means Kelby Brown's got to go a long way to get to the pitch. You're going to get an edge block on the corner, and Kelby Brown has got a long way to go to take away the pitch play.
You'll have to pay in assignment football if you miss your assignment. And that's what happened for Duke that time. First and 10 at the 37-yard line. This is Sneed, and Sneed gets over the 40 out to about the 42, gain of nearly 4. Peterson makes the tackle for Navy.
Well, you got to like these linebackers. Crowder is a guy that, and Sneed are 2 big-time, fast guys, but love the way Navy's linebackers are shadowing these 2 fast players to make plays for minimal gains.
Second down. Quick pass was deflected. Intended for Crowder. Country music artists Sarah Evans and Rodney Atkins are going to headline ACC Fan Fest, which is presented by AT&T on December 7th. Believe it or not, it's getting closer. Get your game tickets now. Don't miss this free event outside the Bank of America Stadium prior to the ACC Football Championship.
Another screenplay try there for Anthony Boone, and Chris Johnson, 3 interceptions on the year, got his hands on another play.
Duke 4 of 6 and searching for first down on third. They're looking at 3rd and 6 here. Boone to throw down the middle, pass complete. It's McCaffrey, and he's got the first down in Navy territory at the 43.
Well, it's a nice play by Max McCaffrey to understand the coverage. It's zone, going to come right inside the safety, number 8, Wave Rider. Goes up, elevates in traffic, makes the catch.
Screen pass out there to Crowder. He drops the football, and because it was thrown ahead of the quarterback, it's going to be incomplete.
Yeah, again, another pass play that a little down into the leg where Crowder can't catch. He's got to kind of concentrate on the catch. Now, that's on Crowder. He's got to catch that ball, no question. But it's not where they want the ball located by Anthony Boone. Want it out in front of Crowder so he can catch it on the move.
Boone has missed the last 3.5 weeks because of the shoulder separation. Suffered in the first half of the Memphis game, second game of the season. Already thrown 1 touchdown today. He's looking for another. He's got a man. That is going to be Crowder, incomplete. Navy had coverage. Wave Rider was with him, but probably a step behind.
Well, Navy's going to come with some pressure, and this time it's more than just 4 men. Here come the linebackers. Peterson comes clean, just whiffs on Anthony Boone, speeds up the process, and Boone airmails the throw to Crowder, who had gotten in behind Wave Rider, the safety. But again, that's what the blitz is supposed to do. It's supposed to change the time clock for the quarterback, and Navy did it there with the pressure from the linebackers.
Brings up 3rd down and 10. Score tied here, 7-all. Duke and Navy territory. Boone has time, fires complete. And that is Anthony Nash, redshirt freshman from Westchester, Pennsylvania. And that moves the Sticks deeper into Navy territory.
Now, this is an indication of how big this arm is. Just a nice job on the outside with the route. Nash along the sidelines on the comeback, but that was a long throw from Boone, and he cut that one loose.
14-yard gain. Probably went 30 yards in the air. Arch, here comes the pass. It is complete again to Nash. And a short gain. Boone has tied a career high for completions in a game, 18.
Well, they're doing a really good job. Kurt Roper, the offensive coordinator for Duke's, really doing a nice job of nibbling out on the edge with the screens, the quick throws, giving Anthony Boone some easy tosses here to allow him to get that 18 completions and be in a rhythm.
Here comes a handoff to Sneed, and Sneed breaks tackles and gets inside the 10. Beautifully set up play. Chris Johnson makes a touchdown-saving tackle at the 7-yard line.
Well, you get so concerned about the outside part of what they're doing. They fake the perimeter run with the jet sweep and then hand it straight ahead to Josh Sneed.
Here comes Sneed ahead again at the 5, maybe to the 4. Making the tackle, Cody Peterson. It'll bring up 2nd and goal.
This is an area where they like Braxton Deaver, the tight end, number 89. Does an outstanding job down the red zone. You see 18 touchdowns in 23 trips. That's a pretty good effort by Duke down in the red zone.
78% in the red zone.
Well, here's Deaver, the tight end, right here.
Line up in the wing and to the right. Here comes Boone. Will follow his center and get to about the 3-yard line. Johnson makes the tackle. Gain of 2 brings up 3rd down.
Really the first time we've seen kind of the keep for the quarterback. It was the zone read play, but just kind of a follow play by Anthony Boone. We talked about Boone playing for the first time since week 2 after a collarbone injury. Talked to David Cutcliffe, and he said unbelievable how quickly some guys just heal quicker than others, and Boone's one of those kind of guys.
And they decided not to do surgery, Arch. So that helped out a little bit in that situation. So he's healed up. Got his team down inside the 5. 3rd and goal. Pass to McCaffrey in the end zone. Touchdown.
It's a great job by Max McCaffrey, and the reason is because of his patience. Now we're going to see the back end of this. Boone puts great trajectory. Throw it to the pylon is what you're told, often on a fade route. But McCaffrey's patience, he didn't immediately go to the fade. He set it up and then got on top of the corner and made an easy angle for Boone to drop it down the chimney chute to him.
And this will be Ross Martin out of the hold of Will Munday for the point after. Duke ahead again, and that lead is extended to 7, 14-7. With 4:35 left in the second. Back after this word from the Atlantic Coast Conference. With 4:35 left to go in the first half, it's Duke 14-7 over Navy. Let's go to the sidelines and Rachel Barbeau.
Yeah, guys, you were talking about how quickly Anthony Boone came back from that injury. Coach Cutcliffe told us yesterday he made a call to Anthony Boone's parents because when a guy comes back that quickly from an injury, he wants to make sure he has the blessing of his parents. He also says when your starting quarterback goes down due to injury, it's his job when he returns, unless he's not playing up to par.
Well, you got to love David Cutcliffe. You know, you talk about a guy, and I think all these guys, all these coaches, both these coaches are two of the best when you start talking about caring about our players. But that's a guy that if you want to send your kid to go play for, that's the guy. I mean, David Cutcliffe's phenomenal, and now he goes about his business.
Thomas is back to receive the kick, and he will kneel down in the end zone. He's the most personable analyst in college football. We're talking about Clinton Portis, and he's brought his unique style to the ACC Digital Network this week on CP's Top 3. Clinton gives us his top 3 impact players on the Pitt Panthers. Go to the ACC.com now for CP's Top 3 on the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Here we go.
He wasn't a bad player either.
No, he wasn't.
I think people forget about how good a player Clinton Portis was.
True impact player. I'd say he know an impact player or two, and Pitt's got a couple of them. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Here comes the pitch to the corner. And that is Sanders, and he is strung out and sent out at about the 27, 28-yard line, gain of about 2.
Well, that's a nice hustle by Dwayne Norman. Came over from the safety spot, runs all the way across the field on this wide toss play. But to limit that to just the 2 yards.
2nd down and 8. Swain the fullback, Staten the scat back, but the keep is by Reynolds, and there's not much there. Making a great play is Johnson.
Now, much better job now. They've gone back to defending the perimeter. This time Jeremy Cash does not blitz inside. He stays outside and takes away the pitch. You see 16 come in your screen, and a nice play by Desmond Johnson to wrap up the quarterback.
Well, the fans have started to show up now that the rain has stopped. And they're making some noise here on this 3rd down. Navy 1 of 3 on 3rd down, 1 of 4.
And normally a Navy team not comfortable. They're very comfortable throwing the football because of Keenan Reynolds.
He's back to throw again, out of the pocket, almost brought down, keeps the play alive and gets a 1st down. Pass is complete to Darius Staten. It's a gain of 10. Move the markers.
Well, what an excellent scramble by Keenan Reynolds.
We've got Jamal Wallace is down for Duke. Backing up Sidney Sarmiento, a defensive tackle.
Well, we know he can run. But here he buys time. He's not looking to run here. He's just looking to keep and buy time to get himself an opportunity to throw the football. Does an excellent job of throwing it on the move. Good adjustment by Staten to find an angle for him to get the football down. Let's take a look at what happened to Jamal Wallace. He's got leg whip. Kenny Ananiki, 84, his own player, fell on the back of his right leg.
And there is Wallace going to the sidelines, and we'll go to our ACC studios to take a look what's coming. All right, thank you very much, Tom and Tommy.
I think kind of the game within the game was the Virginia Tech defense against that Pitt offense, and it looks like VT's defense went in the first half.
Up 10-3, our score, 14-7 Duke. Navy with the football on 1st and 10. It's going to be Chris Swain, and he gets about 3 yards to about the 40.
Well, the chess game that's going back and forth between the Navy offense and the Duke defense, Duke tried to take away. See Jamal Wallace getting some help on the sideline there. The way they've tried to change back and forth, Navy got a lot of success with the fullback early. Duke decided to try to take that away. Navy began to run the ball on the edge. Now Duke's trying to take away the edge play.
Reynolds to throw after the play fake. Pass complete to Williams-Jenkins. And he's in Duke territory at the 36-yard line. Ryan Williams-Jenkins, 24-yard gain.
Yeah, his first catch of the year for the junior. As he just slips up. They're so concerned about the run game. There's nobody there, and that's when you run the ball as well as Navy has, you're going to have some people wide open.
Williams-Jenkins only had 1 carry on the year prior to this play. Here's Copeland charging to the 32-yard line, gain of 4. Here's our AP Top 25 presented by Progressive Insurance. 4 ACC teams in the field, 3 of them undefeated. Clemson, Florida State, and only once beaten Virginia Tech.
Well, they're laying in the weeds. They got a big one today. Obviously, second half left to play against Pitt, but Virginia Tech to me is the team that's laying in the weeds that nobody's talking about.
Second down. Reynolds on the keep. Hit as he got rid of it. Staten now with it, and is driven out of bounds by Norman at the 18-yard line. We have a flag on the play.
That's how you're supposed to take the quarterback out. Now, I wonder if this is an illegal block. This came from all the way from the back judge. Is this an illegal block? This is one of those rules where they're trying to take pair of players down the field. Let's see.
Block below the waist. Offense number 21. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
That wipes out. A gain by Staten.
Brandon Sanders is going to go up the field, and you see the chop right there out in front, block below the waist. Coming for an inside out. An excellent job of Keenan Reynolds feeling that, dealing it, pitching it Staten. They got the block from Brandon Sanders is the block that brought the play back.
Second down and long yardage. Here's Reynolds. We got a whistle and a flag. And a motion penalty coming up against Navy, it appears, at the 40-yard line.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 61, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Closed captioning for ACC football is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bo time.
Second procedural call we've seen on the offensive line. Not something we saw the stat earlier where Navy's under 3 penalties a game, one of the best in the country. And Duke is enticing that because of their defenders that are walking up into the B gaps. They're doing an excellent job of creeping up and making these offensive linemen jump just a little bit.
Big rush is on. Reynolds chases off, ducks over the official, fires the pass out of bounds.
Well, Fox thought he'd thrown the football, and he was so concerned about drawing a penalty on the quarterback for hitting him late that he let him go, and he still had the football. Watch Fox 92. He's going to pump fake, and he thought he threw the football. And then, of course, Reynolds runs over the official, all sorts of stuff going on. But Justin Fox was so concerned about maybe getting a penalty on the passer that he didn't take him to the ground there.
I wonder why he stopped. Reynolds got a pretty good play fake, doesn't he? Third down, half a mile, about 20. All inside Duke territory at the 46. Reynolds to throw, steps up, fires complete. And that's going to be to Sanders, to Brandon Sanders. That's going to be close to the first down.
Well,
Norman brings him down.
This is the difference in Navy now, and it really was brought on by a really good quarterback named Ricky Dobbs. They started to recruit kids that could throw the football. So often we've seen Navy's quarterbacks as strictly runners. That's not who Keenan Reynolds is.
That's why he's only the third true freshman to start at Navy. He talked to him on the phone earlier this week, and his demeanor is perfect for the position. Not known as an option quarterback really before he came to the Naval Academy, but the skills that he brings are ideal for it, plus the wrinkle, as you said, Arch, he can throw the football. Second down. Gets to the corner, tries for an opening back inside, and gets to the 11-yard line from the 15. It's a gain of about 5. Cash makes the tackle.
Really well defended. It's a little bit of a counter option and really well defended, and just the ability to create something by Keenan Reynolds got it to 3rd and short.
Got a timeout call by Navy here with 28 seconds left to go in a fast-moving first half. Navy would like to have enough time to get a score on the board, and they're not thinking field goal here. They are at the 11-yard line of Duke. Ruby Tuesday takes us around the ACC to check in on conference action this weekend. One game going on with us. Virginia Tech ahead of us here in the third quarter, leading Pitt 10-3. Later today, Virginia and Maryland trying to recover from their loss to Florida State. Syracuse at NC State. Boston College at Clemson. That's all kinds of possibilities at 3:30. And Georgia Tech, after 2 losses, they're trying to pick things up at Brigham Young. Well, good luck with that one at 7 o'clock. And you see our 1st and 10 line, or you will see it here. It is, and it's going to be pink. And October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We want to salute the many ongoing efforts to work toward a cure.
Yeah, I want to throw a shout out to my mother who watches every Saturday. She's a breast cancer survivor.
Twice, right?
Hello, Mom.
Was it twice?
Yeah, 2 times. 2 times. And very important. It's pretty cool that we do that.
3rd down and 2. And it's got the first down. That's going to be Reynolds on the keep. It's a gain of 5. Moves the chains.
Real quickly, getting them back to the line of scrimmage.
1 timeout left now for Navy, and Reynolds will wisely down the football. That'll stop the clock. They'd moved so fast the chains weren't even set.
Well, really good job there by Keenan Reynolds. And we talked about off the top, and Coach talked about how heady a quarterback he is. It's a sophomore quarterback. He's 9-3 as a starter. Burst on the scenes last year in a game against the Air Force. He's loved the way he handled his business. Went on to start 7 games that year, and he's been the guy ever since. And we saw how quickly he understood the circumstances there to get him on the line of scrimmage, get the clock stopped.
Staten's a wing. Swain is the lone fullback. Reynolds to throw, and he's hit. And the ball is loose, picked up by Duke.
Kenny Ananicky, the 6th-year senior, got a medical hardship last year, makes the big hit as Keenan Reynolds was waiting for the slant route on the outside. Ananicky, 84, going to come across. He has to wait, and then a big hit from the senior, jarred the ball loose.
Shelby Brown picks up the loose ball. Ooh. Great play by Duke to stop the touchdown with 18 seconds left.
Well, and it's saying something because that's something that Navy has not done, is turn the football over, and Duke does a good job of coming in and getting a turnover when they need it biggest.
They'll down the football and say enough is enough here in this first half. Let's take a look at our BMW Ultimate Drive, and it's the first drive by Duke in this football game this afternoon.
Really mixed it up well. They threw the short ball. We saw the athleticism of Anthony Boone. Of course, Juwan Thompson running it straight ahead. Crowder makes a big play. And, of course, the throw to Isaac Blakely. There's your BMW Ultimate Drive.
All right, we're at halftime. And let's go to Rachel Barbeau. She's standing by with David Cutcliffe.
Coach, when we talked to you yesterday, you said your injured quarterback, Anthony Boone, might play in some spot positions, but you didn't believe he would start, but you shocked everybody today and started him.
Well, I can tell you now that Thursday, after a walkthrough, Brandon Cannett coming back in, jogging in, turned his ankle. So we thought he was going to make it, but he told me in pregame warm-up he wasn't ready to play. And so Anthony immediately became ready to play. So real proud of what he did coming back.
Coach, you also told us about defending this scheme, that fundamental football was really important. Can you give a grade to your team in the first half?
Yeah, I think we've played real well. Defensively, we've tackled better. We've made a couple of big plays defensively, and they're not easy to force into mistakes. Offensively, if we stay on schedule, we've been great, but we can't have lost yards plays, and we don't need penalties. We had a penalty in the opening kickoff, or we may have driven down and scored in the opening kickoff, and we had a bad fourth down. That's the fundamentals. We clean that up, we got a good shot at winning this game.
Good luck, Coach.
65 yards on the ground already in the first half.
So 300-yard pace or more, 320. Nice kick by Martin to kick it out of bounds, and we're ready to go. And here comes Keenan Reynolds. Reynolds has showed us a lot. He took a huge hit on that last series, but came up and kept running.
Well, I know that the biggest thing stuck in his mind is that he turned the football over inside the 10-yard line. Kenny Ananiki made the hit at the end of the half that kept Navy off the board, potential to put another touchdown on the board. But he's thrown the ball well. They've got to make sure that they take care of him. Duke does in their option attack.
4 drives today. The 2 longest have not produced any points. One a missed field goal, and then the other, of course, a fumble.
A little different look, the diamond look now.
And off first man through. That's Swain. Gain of about 4. The drizzle is picked up again here at Wallace Wade Stadium. That might be the best we can ask for. Ananiki on the tackle to do. Ananiki made a great tackle near the end of the first half and jarred the football loose. Kelby Brown jumped on it. Hand off, first man through again. This is Swain. It's out to about the 33, 85.
Just excellent push up front. Swain, 230 pounds, coming right at you. Ananiki going to fold back to the inside and get in on the tackle with Jamal Bruce. But another excellent push up front from this Navy offensive line as they relentlessly come at you.
Swain's got the size, 232. They're down and 1. Handoff comes to Swain. He's got the first down and more. Gets out to about the 44-yard line, and it'll be a gain of close to 10. 9 yards up.
This is the way the game started for Navy, was they were getting some chunk plays out of their fullback. And again, Swain here banging straight ahead and getting good yardage and picking up the first down as they close towards midfield.
First and 10. Jenkins back there. Copeland is the fullback. They'll get the handoff, and there's not much there. That's the least productive play in that drive so far. Out to about the 45. Anthony Boone, first action in about 5 weeks, including the bye week. Looked pretty good in that first half.
19-24, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns for David Cutcliffe. David had to make a decision. Heard talking to Rachel Barbeau, Connett had an ankle injury. They had to start Boone. He stepped up big time.
All kinds of time, but not much room in that pocket. His starts to shrink, and Kenny Ananiki trips up Reynolds for a loss of 2. Back to the 43 of Navy.
Well, this is a coverage sack because Duke does an excellent job in the back end, and Keenan Reynolds has enough time to get this ball out, but Ananiki, and with his relentless style as he continues to get after the quarterback. Here's Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator. He felt like that Ananiki needed to have a big day when they want to throw the football. He has so far.
3rd down and about 9. Navy to throw, maybe. Reynolds passes. It's going to be complete, but well short of the first down. Catch made by Williams Jenkins.
Good pressure again by Duke as they dial up a little heat with Kelby Brown, the linebacker. Did a good job of flushing Keenan Reynolds out of the pocket, and at that point, it's kind of damage control for the young quarterback. And Duke does a good job of forcing him off the field.
Here's Jamal Wallace. He was hurt in the first half. He's going for more medical work up here. 4th down and about 7. Beltran to kick. Shane Powell is back. That's Crowder at the 20. Crowder gets past the first wall, but won't escape the second, and he'll come out to about the 27-yard line. 34-yard punt and 8-yard return, so that's net of 26. Defensively, Duke doing a good job. Reason, number 84. Look at Kenny Ananiki all over the field. Timeout. Duke up by 7. We welcome you back to Wallace Wade Stadium here in Durham, North Carolina, home of the Duke Blue Devils. Navy and Duke going at it for the 40th time in their history. Duke leading here 14-7. Passing by distance.
Yeah, there haven't many been hit the ground. Only 5 have hit the ground today for Anthony Boone. You see the long one, the 27-yard. That was a touchdown to Isaac Blakeney.
He's going to see some action today, but then, complete to Crowder. And Crowder brought down by Richardson after a nice gain of the play of 23.
Well, you love the deep in route versus zone. Watch him wait, get in that window, and then just rip it down through the middle, just outside the arms of the linebacker from Navy. Excellent job of getting the ball to Crowder.
1st and 10, a yard into Navy territory. Play fake, Boone over the middle, complete. It's Braxton Deaver, and he is down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Gain of 24.
It's a play you see a little bit more a flash play fake, and then watch the linebacker step up, get the ball to Deaver. Wave Rider came up, he bounced off of that tackle and got some additional yardage. Deaver, a guy that's really coming into his own. The redshirt junior from Charlotte. Caught a couple of touchdowns this year, but an excellent catch down the seam there.
1st and 10 again. Duke moving the ball at the Navy 25. Pass is off the hands of Blakeney. Let's go to our ACC studios for Tom Wormy.
Steve, this is a Hardee's update. Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech. Cody Journell, 42-yard field goal, 16-3 Virginia Tech late in the 3rd. Journell also with a 48-yarder, career long.
Hard to get yards against that Virginia Tech defense, and then you got Journell knocking in a pair. The Hokies have been flying under the radar, but they're in the top 25 now, number 25. Boone, pass complete. They're the Crowder. Knocked out of bounds inside the 20 to the 18.
All right, Boone's going to throw this one right to you at home. You catch it, get upfield. Crowder didn't even need to catch that ball. You could have caught that on your couch and gotten the 1st down, or gotten the 5 yards.
The guy on the couch says, I'll let Crowder catch it. 3rd down and 3. Duke ahead by a touchdown. They're looking for more. Caffrey and Braxton are split wide to the top side. Blakeney to the bottom. Pass to Blakeney complete. Nobody there. And he drifts past the defenders and into the end zone. Touchdown, Duke. An 18-yard strike and the 3rd touchdown pass of the day by Anthony Boone.
Well, Isaac Blakeney is just going to drag inside. What Navy's going to do is they're going to come with pressure. They're going to come with pressure here. Blakeney's just going to come up and run a little delay route underneath. Here comes the pressure from Navy. Just a little delay route underneath, and Blakeney does an excellent job once he gets the ball in his hands of getting all the way to the other side of the field and getting in the end zone against the zone blitz of Navy.
4th grab of the day by Blakeney in his 2nd touchdown. Here comes Martin for the point after, and it is good. And Duke, tied by Navy at 7-all, have scored twice unanswered and have a 14-point lead at home. 5th, 1960. Number 4 Navy came down to Durham to take on number 13 Duke. Midshipmen got out to a 10-0 lead at halftime between future Heisman Trophy winner Joe Bellino. But the Blue Devils came back, scoring 19 unanswered points to win 19-10. My brother, when he was young, he was Joe Bellino all the time when we played football. Just because he could stay on the field. Offense and defense. Martin with a kick. And this will be down in the end zone by Thomas. Well, let's have a look at our Haviland defensive shield, and you look at tackles. You'll see them by the Duke Blue Devils, and Jeremy Cash leads on average at 10.2, and Kelby Brown not far behind, one back.
Yeah, those two guys are big today, especially Jeremy Cash. We had a chance to speak with him yesterday. He's very matter-of-factly. He says, I got to be big in this game. Had a number of tackles. As you see, he's had a number of tackles on the year, but he's a big part of what they're trying to do to take away this triple option attack. He's been big so far today.
Well, they've been schooled in the triple option attack by Georgia Tech, and they come back with a week prior to prepare for this game, and it's gone well. Reynolds back to throw. In pursuit. And he is driven out of bounds. Finally driven there by Jeremy Cash. But Johnson put on some good pressure that time along with Deion Williams.
Yeah, really a good job. You just talked about Jeremy Cash, and he does a really good job of slow playing. His number 16 is going to be out in front as he takes away the throw, and then he's ultimately going to come up and force Reynolds out of bounds. So nice job by Jeremy Cash to take away the quick throw and then come up and get the quarterback out of bounds.
Second down and 9 coming up. Sanders in the backfield there along with Swain and Staten. Got it winged off to the right side. Reynolds will keep himself. Duke doing a good job shadowing the play. And Fields makes the tackle. And with more on Jeremy Cash, let's go to Rachel Barbeau.
Yeah, guys, coaches told us yesterday that he is such a good football player that they can let him loose on the field. He's a guy, an Ohio State transfer. He transferred from there when they had the sanctions, and he said he fits right in at Duke. He feels like a Duke man. He said, NFL, I don't know. I want to be a sports psychologist one day.
Wow, from Miami, Florida. Redshirt sophomore. Big pressure on Reynolds and no time to throw. Putting on the pressure, Jonathan Woodruff. Second sack of the day.
Woodruff, the sophomore, is right over here, going to win and get inside on the quarterback. It's a one-on-one matchup. They try to cut him, and whenever an offensive lineman goes to cut, the ball's got to come out. Whenever an offensive lineman decides to cut the defender, he's anticipating the ball come out. So that might have been on Keenan Reynolds right there. Offensive tackle took enough out of Woodruff in his mind to allow the quarterback to get the ball out.
7-yard loss, 4th and long. Here's the punt by Beltran. Crowder back to get it. Picks it up off the ground, and he's on his way. He'll get out over the 45 to about the 46-yard line. 38-yard punt and about a 7-yard return, and net of 31. We have a flag, and it's back at the 25 of Navy. This is an AAC crew.
After the ball was kicked, holding. Receiving team number 17, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jeff McConaughey is the referee. So the Duke Blue Devils impressive in their first offensive series and their first defensive series. Timeout on the field. Duke up 21-7. Back after this word from your local ACC station. Navy 21-7. UCR 1st and 10 line has turned pink. October is breast cancer awareness month, and we want to salute the many ongoing efforts to make a difference. One case of breast cancer diagnosed every 2 minutes. One woman will die of breast cancer every 13 minutes in the U.S. Boone back to throw. And it is complete. Braxton Deaver with a nice long catch. Boy, Boone has had 4 long balls in the last 2 possessions.
Yeah, these wide side throws. You're going to run Deaver on the wheel route. Just going to follow Crowder up the field. Excellent read by Boone. Got the big time arm to get it to his junior tight end. They've hooked up a couple times here in the second half for big gains.
That one for 21. 1st and 10. Pass again, Deaver again, straight ahead, down to the 42 of Navy, a gain of 9.
And this is what the offense is evolving to, are these different options, and Boone's doing a nice job of sorting those out right now. You can see his accuracy coming more and more the more throws he makes. Remember, got hurt in week 2 for David Cutcliffe against Memphis. Back quickly after the collarbone injury. He's looked extremely sharp today.
That was September 7th when that happened. Over a month out of the lineup. Handoff goes to Jalay Duncan. Duncan has got the first down and moves the chains again. Here's Anthony Boone on the day. How's that after a month of rust?
Yeah, and he's missed on a couple of short throws, a couple of bubble screens. that number could probably be even better than what it is, but a career high in yards and completions. Boone's been everything they'd hoped he'd be.
And didn't know he was going to start today. Knew he was going to play. Brandon Connect came to coach and said, my leg is still sore, the ankle's still sore, so Boone came in as the starter, and that was announced just minutes before the ball game. Sarah in the tackle. There's a lot going on about Anthony Boone in social media. Check out the Twitter world at the ACC Football. Join the conversation at the ACC Football hashtag Navy versus Duke, or visit the ACC.com/social hub. And the Boone squad is all fired up for this one. He has played well this afternoon so far. Got the ball again. Pass complete. Crowder launches himself into the line. He's going to be shy of the first down. Needed the 29. He got to the 30, and Cody Peterson stopped him there.
Yeah, these are really the only throws that have caused him some problems with his accuracy. Now, he wants this on the upfield shoulder of Crowder. Let's see if he gets it there. Not pretty close. And that's what you're looking for. You want it to be the easiest possible play for your playmaker so he doesn't have to be distracted with trying to make a difficult catch to get up the field. And now you're in 3rd and short because of the accuracy.
Crowder's on the short side of the field at the bottom of the screen now. Always want to keep an eye on him. It's 3rd down and short. Jaleh Duncan. And Duncan gets the first down and more. Cut down at the 25-yard line there by Chris Johnson. The 5-yard gain moves the chain.
It's a nice cut by Jaleh Duncan. Talked about Chris Johnson right there, number 46. Outstanding linebacker, leads the team in interceptions. Had 2 last week against the Air Force for Buddy Green's defense.
Buddy Green recruits North Carolina for the Naval Academy.
Spent 10 years at NC State as a coach on that staff. 12 years now at Navy directing their defense.
He was with Dick Sheridan and Michael Caine over in Raleigh. 1st and 10. The 25 of Navy. Handoff Duncan. Duncan squeezes out of a tackle and then draws a crowd at the 21. Gain of 5. Gaines, Parrish gains it on the stop.
Oh, because of how well Boone has played and how well he's distributed the ball, Navy has to be on the guard to take away the throw. So this good set of backs for Duke is getting some running room, and they're getting 4 and 5 yards a pop now.
Clock is chugging through the 3rd. We're under 4.5 minutes to go. 2nd down and a long 6. Duncan. Big opening at the 10, down to the 5, and he's brought down. Parrish gains among others at the 4-yard line. Peterson got a piece of it, but not before a nice gain of 17 yards.
Excellent job up front by Duke. Did a good job of getting to the 2nd level, getting the linebackers blocked, and Jaleh Duncan with the great speed hits it inside the 5.
1st and goal. Duke looking to add another score on here. This is Duncan. He may do it. He does. Touchdown, Duke. From 5 yards out, Jaleh Duncan.
Yeah, he finishes this drive, Steve. Wade Ryder, the free safety, is going to come up and collision Jaleh Duncan at the goal line, and Duncan's going to finish the drive. Boom. Runs right through the free safety. They'll shove it in the end zone. Duke really having their way here in the 3rd quarter.
They score with 3:42 left to go here in the 3rd. Ross Martin to kick out of the hold of Will Munday for the point after. That is good. And Duke extends their lead to 28-7. We'll be back after this word from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Hall of Fame. Of course, you'll remember Wes Chesson, native of Edenton, North Carolina. And there's Jay Williams, basketball player, National Player of the Year, 2001, 2002, Wes Chesson. Of course, this is back in the time when you could only play 3 years. And then, of course, they were introduced to the crowd here at halftime. Wes Chesson, Jay Williams, among others. Very proud in athletics here at the Hall of Fame at Duke.
It's always cool when a school honors the guys and ladies that have carried on the tradition in their particular sports. Obviously, Jason Williams, what a phenomenal basketball player he was here at Duke.
The second half has been all Duke here on the football side. This is Thomas bringing it out of the end zone. We have a flag upfield. It's upfield at the Navy 36. Thomas was brought down at the 10.
During the return, holding. Number 51, return team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Half the distance to the goal brings it down to the 5, and this is the biggest hole that Navy has had to operate out this afternoon. Duke Blue Devils have taken care of business here in the third quarter.
A couple of mistakes. There's Kenny Niumatalolo, the head football coach at Navy, does an unbelievable job. Has been great for the program. But his kids have made a couple mistakes. That one right there by Marcus Thomas. That's stepped out of the end zone, then tried to step back in, then realized he had to bring it out. Things you don't normally see.
There's the pitch on the corner. It's going to go to Sanders, and Sanders is brought down to about the 14-yard line, so it'll be a gain of 9 on the play.
A good quick decision by Keenan Reynolds there. He realized the play was starting to string out a little bit. He got the ball to Sanders quickly, so Sanders could get to the edge. Nice pickup on first down.
Reynolds hands off to the fullback Swain. Not much there, got out to about the 16-yard line. Good enough for the first down.
Well, you can bet that the Duke sideline not resting real easy here, Steve, because you don't have to go back very far. 2010, where Ricky Dobbs led Navy back from 34-3 down to make it a 34-31 game, and actually had a chance late to potentially win that game. So you can bet David Cutcliffe is paying attention to every play. That he knows Navy has the capabilities of coming back.
Well, Reynolds is just as dangerous, if not more so, than anybody else. He got 6 on that last game. Noah Copeland will come into the backfield now for Navy, looking at 2nd down and 4. Hand off. Oh, nice tackle. Justin Fox just wrestled Copeland down with the ball.
That's a nice job by Justin Fox to win to the inside and get his hands around Copeland. Talked to Jim Knowles, the D coordinator, how important it was going to be to tackle. He says our guys are going to have to tackle in space and get people to the ground. That time Justin Fox did a nice job of shrugging off the block and making a play on 2nd down.
3rd down, a short 3. And nothing doing. They needed the 28. They barely got back to the 25. Maybe a yard. Jamal Bruce on the tackle.
Well, and you wonder whether Navy will make a decision here to potentially go. This is deep in their own territory. But it's a 4th down play, and this is a long one, too. This is not just a length of the football.
Well, they're probably going to try to get Duke to jump. They do 2 fakes toward the middle of the line, trying to make the decision easy for themselves. Now they'll punt it away and call timeout.
Yeah, good discipline by Duke. A lot of players around the line of scrimmage realizing it was a short distance to get, but they did not jump offside, and that's exactly what Navy was trying to do, was trying to pull Duke off.
Well, fans, have you downloaded ACC Football Challenge presented by McAllister's Deli? Join the over 100,000 fans that have downloaded the app and are representing their ACC team. Compete in the field goal kicking challenges and go head-to-head with other fans. Over 500,000 games have already been played. Download ACC Football Challenge for free today. So Navy, we think, will punt it away.
Keenan Reynolds still on the field.
Still out there. They still got a 4th and 1. They tried to get Duke to jump. And they're putting a lot on this play right here, because if Duke takes over, they're a threat the way that they're moving the ball to get another score. Here's Reynolds, and Reynolds looks like he got it. Gutty play, gutty call by Ken Niumatalolo.
Nice job by Keenan Reynolds. There's got to be a sense of urgency when you realize short distance to gain. Whenever you see a crease, you got to turn it up. Excellent job. Talked about, again, how heady he is and understanding the situation. Nice job by Keenan Reynolds.
1st and 10, Reynolds back to throw. Big Welsh on, hit as he threw. Going to be deep, no. Intended for Matt Aiken. That's the first one thrown his way today.
Kobe Brown, the linebacker, right here, going to come right at the quarterback. Sees the crease. Late blitz. Reynolds held on the ball a little bit too long. Brown was able to get in there and kind of force that errant throw that actually ended up out of bounds.
2nd down and 10. Reynolds to throw. Pass intercepted. Picked off by Jeremy Cash.
Well, and he baited him here too. Jeremy Cash, remember, he's been trying to hit the B gap against the option game, and he's baiting the quarterback. Jeremy Cash is right here. Remember, he's been kind of jutting in here, but what he's going to do is he's going to jump back outside. Does an excellent job of looking like he's going to run with the slot receiver and then jumps back out underneath the hitch route and makes the play.
Jeremy Cash with a play for the Duke Blue Devils. That's going to be his 2nd interception of the season. A big one that gives Duke field position at the Navy 33. Handoff goes to Powell. And Powell dragging bodies. Boy, Archduke is really getting some mileage out of their first down run.
Well, what's going to have to now start to happen for Buddy Green defensively. They're not a big blitz team. They like the zone dog from time. They're going to have to begin to come with pressure because they've got to do something to disrupt Duke's blocking assignments up front. They'll have to do that in the 4th quarter as we wind down here in the 3rd quarter.
Final 20 seconds winding down off the clock. Teams changing sides of the field. It's been a very good 3rd quarter for the Duke Blue Devils. 2 scores to push their lead to 28-7, and David Cutcliffe's team got another quarter to go to pick up their 4th win of the season before conference play really gets underway in earnest in the ACC next week. But Anthony Boone has had 3 touchdown passes, and Duke leads Navy 28-7 after 3. Now you see Duke leading 28-7 and 14 points in the 2nd and 3rd quarters for the Blue Devils. They got the ball pushing for more. Screen pass out there goes to Crowder. Crowder dances around a couple of would-be tacklers and gets down to about the 26-yard line. It's a gain of 6.
Another good throw from Boone on the bubble or the jailbreak screen where Crowder coming back to the inside. Good accurate throw, allowed Crowder to get up the field. Good 1st down play for Duke's offense.
Gain of 9. That's the 9th reception by Jamison Crowder this afternoon. 2nd down and about 6. Crowder in motion. He'll get the end around handoff. Whoa, and waiting there and saying nothing doing was Peterson.
Yeah, Cody Peterson's the leading tackler on this Navy team, and talked about it off the top. Navy's linebackers really do a good job of understanding where they're supposed to be. Here, Cody Peterson reads the jet sweep. 53 going to come out, track him down, and then tackle him in the open field, which is another thing. It's one thing to track him and be in position. It's another thing to get him on the ground. Excellent play by the senior.
3rd down and about 6. Boone, who's been nothing short of spectacular, throws down the field. It is incomplete. Intended for Powell, Shaquille Powell.
Trying to release the back right through the seam. Nice job by Sargenti to make it a tough throw. He mirrored him down the field, made him drop it in the bucket, and then Wave Ryder comes over to make sure. I'm sorry, not Wave Ryder. It was Parrish Gaines, the corner, comes over to make sure. Big corner, 6'2", 200 pounds. Come over and lay the wood to make sure Powell didn't catch that one.
Martin is in there. Ross Martin, his career long is 52. This will be a 35-yarder coming from the left hash. No, it's going to be a fake. Inside Blakeney. Blakeney carrying tacklers with him and goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. And if they mark him there, then Duke has a 1st down. It's going to be a 1st down for Duke on the fake field goal.
A nice wrinkle, little shovel pass to the inside. Blakeney's been very good today. This is a career high in catches for him with 5, and he gets just enough for the 1st down.
Got 2 touchdowns on the day, Arch, and a big 1st down catch on a field goal fake. 1st and 10 from the 11. Pass out there complete. Goes to Braxton, turns the corner, gets knocked out of bounds by Richardson. That stops the clock with 13:01 and takes him out of bounds after a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, but pretty well played by Navy right there. They took away the run. That's why Boone pulled the ball out and threw the ball outside to Braxton. And a good job by Navy to slow play and get him out of bounds.
Navy can still get a first down inside the 2. Or Duke can still get a first down. Crowder in motion. Handoff goes to Powell. He'll turn the corner and get into the end zone. Touchdown, Duke. The first collegiate touchdown for Shaquille Powell from Las Vegas, Nevada.
They're coming right at you. Just bounces to the outside and just great speed by Shaquille Powell to get to the pylon. Got some good blocking on the perimeter. Crowder 3 there. Got a block, but excellent speed by Shaq Powell to get in the end zone.
Well, Martin may get to kick this one anyway. On the point after. Kick is up, and it is good. Been that kind of day for the Duke Blue Devils, and especially for Anthony Boone, who didn't know he was going to play today. Thought he'd see some action, but he ends up starting, throwing 3 touchdown passes and leading Duke to a 35-7 lead. Sarah Duke Gardens reached 300,000 visitors annually from all over the world and celebrates its 75th anniversary next year. Duke has just scored. Martin will kick it off. Thomas is back to receive. And he'll put it down in the end zone. And our quarterback comparison is brought to you by the North Carolina Education Lottery. This year, the North Carolina Education Lottery provides more than $73 million to students to help pay for college. Learn more at nc-educationlottery.org.
Well, I think Anthony Boone's numbers explain themselves. Keenan Reynolds, though, has been held in check by this Duke defense. Came in completing 65% of his passes and averaging almost 5 yards a carry, averaging under 2 yards a carry today, and has turned the ball over twice. They took it away from him on a fumble and the interception on the last play that provided a short field opportunity for Duke.
1st and 10 for Navy. They're at the 25. The pass is complete out to Brandon Sanders. And I would imagine Arch will expect a lot of this type of play for Navy here to try to get back into this thing.
Well, it's a long road, but this is very similar to what they faced in 2010, down 34-3. This Navy team stormed back to make it a 1-score game.
Handoff goes straight ahead to Swain. He gets the first down. 1st and 10 after a 4-yard game. ACC fans, will you be the fan that wins a VIP trip to the biggest game of the week? Enter the sweepstakes every week by tackling Coach's Challenge and then share it with the hashtag #BeTheFan. Official rules at attbethefan.com. Reynolds to throw. Pass is batted back. And batted back there by Desmond Johnson, who's played a strong game at the defensive end today.
Yeah, they've rotated a number of players, Desmond Johnson being one. Jonathan Woodruff has a sack today as well. But a good job. You can't get there, get your hands up. Gets the big paw in the air with the right hand, bats it back towards Keenan Reynolds for 2nd and long.
And the longer these down and distances get for Navy, the bigger the challenge it is here for Reynolds. He'll scramble out of there. Hit the corner and fire. The pass is almost picked off. And let's send it back to our ACC studios and Tom Wormy.
Time for a Hardy's update, Steve. Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech. Pitt going for it on 4th and 6. The pass by Tom Savage incomplete. Led to a Hokie field goal. Cody Jornell is 4 of 5 on field goals. 19-3.
Wow. Stalwarts defensively.
Hokie D. Hokie D.
They something. That team is not bad offensively. Here is Reynolds, and Reynolds is captured right at the line of scrimmage. I think Ray wrapped him up, as well as Woodruff.
Yeah, Carlos Ray, the big sophomore from Virginia Beach, plays off the block and is able to get Reynolds on the ground. He's going to force Navy to punt the football.
Navy and Duke have pulled some tricks out of their bag here. Beltran will punt it away. Jamison Crowder back deep. 11-17 left to go. He had the sun out here briefly. It's gone now. High snap. Beltran adjusts, gets a nice kick, drives Crowder back, and then he realizes the thing's going to go into the end zone, so it's going to be a touchback. That's a 62-yard kick. Timeout on the field. It is Duke 35, Navy 7. Thank you very much, Tom. Pitt and Virginia Tech battling as everybody expected them to. High snap to Boone. Handoff to Snead. Snead breaks a couple of tackles and struggled to make some positive yardage, and he just lucky to get no gain. Will Anthony on the tackle for Navy.
A good play by Boone. The snap's going over his head. He does a good job of one-hand stabbing it, and that delayed the handoff, which allowed Navy to get some penetration, kind of blow the play up. But good play by Boone to minimize the damage.
Last 5 possessions for the Duke Blue Devils have been successful.
Yeah, that was.
Is that an understatement?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. Excellent job of taking control of the game. Really, it was the Ananiki play right before the end of the half that kind of turned the tide.
Boone's pass is out there complete to. It's going to be to Braxton. Brandon Braxton gets it out to about the 25-yard line. Been an interesting day for Anthony Boone. He knew he would play today. He thought he would back up Brandon Connett, but Brandon Connett turned an ankle earlier this week. It did not respond, and next thing you know, about 5 minutes of 12, they decided that this man, Anthony Boone, who started the season because he won the position, would start the game, and he has thrown 3 touchdown passes, and I'd say he's guided this team offensively very well.
Yes, he has done an excellent job, and he and Connett are the closest of friends. Heard Rachel report on that earlier in the game, how they text back and forth. In fact, he texted him yesterday talking about winning the game, but Boone stepped up big time here.
Boone in a scramble, pass is complete. Brought down by Anthony Nash.
And these are some of the things that Boone brings to the table. Now, he's only started 4 games in his career. He's played 23, 24 games in his career, but his ability as a passer to understand to lose ground and buy time. Does an excellent job there. He had pressure. He just lost ground and made a good throw to extend the drive.
John Thompson is his running back now. On 1st and 10 at the 36. Thompson pushes the pile ahead of the 39. Gain of about 5. Sargenti in on the tackle here for Navy, but time's starting to become short, and the distance is starting to become great.
You know, another thing you got to take into consideration, the way Anthony Boone has played today. Think about the number of reps. He has repped like he was going to be the backup. So that means you're going to get second-team reps, which is not near as much as what Brandon Connett got during the week. So, yes, he's rusty, and then he didn't get a lot of snaps during the week because the backup just doesn't take as many snaps as the starter does. So nice job by Boone to handle all of that.
Well, his 2 touchdown passes, Arch, in the second quarter were outstanding, and then he had a drive in the third quarter. We had 4 straight passes of 20 or more. Thompson on the carry again, and drags tacklers with him out to the 43-yard line. Coming up next week, get a look at the Orange of Syracuse as they will be at Georgia Tech. And the Yellow Jackets, who play tonight at BYU. You'll see that right here at 12 noon.
Syracuse playing later on just down the road in Raleigh against the Wolfpack. And she just mentioned the Cougars get Georgia Tech in a return engagement. They played in Atlanta last year.
Pass complete to Crowder, but a nice tackle out in the flats there by Clements. Brandon Clements, 2 freshmen from Miami. No gain on the play.
That's an excellent tackle in the open field. Now, this is one of the more elusive players in the country in Jamison Crowder. And just a nice job by Clements to come up and get him on the ground. Defeats the block and comes up and forces a potential punt situation here for Duke.
So Buddy Green's defense does a good job near midfield. Lynch back to receive the punt of Will Monday.
You know, real quickly back on Clements again real quickly. Not a lot of freshman play at Navy, and Clements, that says you a lot about Clements, the kid from Miami, playing for Buddy Green's defense.
You can say the same of Keenan Reynolds at quarterback. Only 3 true freshmen have played at Navy at quarterback. The kick is 29 yards. Shelby Brown, who did not start this game, has performed very well for the Blue Devils defensively. They lead it over Navy 35-7.
Today to Pitt.
New quarterback for Navy, that's Cody Akers. Akers will set it upfield. And that's going to be Clinton Singleton. Now, Navy suffered a loss during the week. John Hendricks, who normally is in the backup role to Keenan Reynolds, suffered an injury this week. I believe it's an ACL, and he's out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, this is Cody Akers' first opportunity to play. Played some JV ball over the last 2 seasons, but this is his first varsity action as a member of the
Singleton
Naval
again. 6-yard gain.
With the tackle.
There's Reynolds on the sideline. Worked off a little bit.
It's been a physical day for Keenan Reynolds, and that's something Duke wanted to make it. And he knew, whenever you run an option offense like they do, he's going to take some shots. But he's taken a lot of shots today, and they just have not been able to make the big play like they normally do.
Here comes Thomas on the pitch around the corner. Driven out of bounds there by Justin Fox. Enter the CPI Red Zone Fan Experience Sweepstakes for your chance to win weekly prizes and the ultimate VIP trip for 4 to the ACC Football Championship game. Visit cpisecurity.com/ACC today to register for your chance to win. And who knows if Virginia Tech has got another big obstacle coming with Miami. And then once they get beyond that, can anybody stop the Hokies? There's the pitch. It's on the ground. It's still out there. Duke's going to get it.
You wonder if Carlos Ray, the big fella, had visions of dancing in the end zone here. At 290 pounds, the big fella going to scrape off the D-line. Number 98 follow him. He says, uh-oh, there's the pumpkin. He's going to try to scoop and score, but a nice play by Duke to play the option. Big fella Carlos Ray, 98, is going to scoop it up. Sophomore out of Virginia Beach.
Pretty happy with his experience. And that kind of shuts down the day for Navy with 5:32 left to play.
Well, Navy's turned it over 3 times today, and that's just not who they are. They came in with only 3 turnovers on the year, +6 in the turnover ratio. Actually, number 4 in turnovers per game in the country, taking care of the football.
One of those turnovers yielded a Duke score. Handoff. Late. That's Duncan, I believe. Yes, it is. Loss of 3 on the play. Nice tackle by Navy. Our edge to the game is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. Duke TDs on 5 straight drives. 44 plays, 319 yards from the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I really think that the play that Kenny Ananicky made right before the end of the half, score 14-7. Ananicky makes a play, jars the ball loose, and allows Duke to go in up 14-7. They have been on the accelerator since. Their offense really rallied with that. Excellent stop, and they really have been in control of the game.
And that play was made inside the Duke 20. Stop that drive, as Art said. Here comes Boone with a handoff. That's going to be Duncan, who turns the corner and gets deeper into Navy territory to 35. Obi Uzoma on the tackle.
Need to make sure we mention the play just before this one. William Tweeder made the tackle, number 38 for Navy. Another freshman. Talk about not a lot of freshman play at Navy. There's a lot of players, a lot of good players. And make sure William Tweeder made the play out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. There's Keenan Reynolds, disappointed. I think they felt like this was a good opportunity. An excellent win last week as they came from behind in the second half against Air Force last week and put themselves in position with their game coming up against Army for the Commander-in-Chief Trophy, which they want to obviously hang on to.
There's Snead on the play. It's down to about the 30-yard line. Clock is rolling along here with 3:45 left to play. An outstanding effort today by Duke. PNC presents our hardest working player. How about Chris Johnson coming into this game after missing all of last year with an ACL in the left knee? 26 tackles. This before today. 3 interceptions and broke up the pass.
He had 7 tackles today, had 8 tackles last week against Air Force. He's He's an outstanding player that his coaches said he looks like he can play wide receiver for him as well.
Duke going for it on 4th and 2. Too deep in the Navy territory to punt. So they give it to Duncan, and Duncan just pushes ahead. Jalay Duncan pushes ahead to the 25. It's a first down.
Now, we should give some credit to, when you score on 5 consecutive drives, the offensive line deserves a ton of credit. Cofield, Harding, Scurra, Tomlinson, Simmons. It's a veteran group that have been together a long time. You've got a couple of seniors up front. The one young guy is Scurra, the sophomore center, but it's a veteran group that's done an excellent job of moving the ball both on the ground and in the air.
20 starts for 4 of the 5 linemen down there. And as you mentioned, Scurra is the only newcomer there. He started all 5 this season at center. 1st and 10. Duncan. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Person in Uzoma on the tackle, getting down to the final 2 minutes of our game. Closed captioning for ACC football brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. You know it's bow time. We have 2nd down coming up for the Duke Blue Devils. 2nd down and 4. They're at the Navy 19-yard line.
And Duke's going to now go into their victory formation and kneel down on the football. They're going to take the air out of it here on 2nd down.
Duncan and Sneed are in there, and they'll just sit on the football here with the clock moving at 1:40. Now the ACC and your local Toyota dealers are unlocking the ACC archives. You can relive over 60 classic football games all for free. Let's go back to 1994. Army Cadets, another military group, were in Durham, and it was all Blue Devils. Robert Baldwin ran for 3 touchdowns, and Duke had no problems as they went on to win 43-7. Adam Geis added 2 touchdown receptions. Duke improved to 3-0. Visit the ACC.com/vault. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, as Art said, Duke and the Victory Foundation, they're just wrapping up the clock here.
Well, it's a good win for Duke. Obviously, anytime you can get a W, but this is a good Navy team. Came in 3-1. It's a good win for Duke. Now they go on the road to Virginia, and they've got their quarterback back. They've got Anthony Boone back, which means Connett, when his ankle's better, as you said, Steve, he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. Be able to put him in with his athleticism. It adds to the mix. So Duke much more dangerous now, but both their quarterbacks are healthy for David Cutcliffe.
Good day for David Cutcliffe and his staff. They came in here, struggled a little bit in the first half, but then they got that 2nd touchdown. Had 14 points in the 2nd quarter. The Kenny Aninicky play that Arch talked about at the end of the first half, and that set up a 3rd quarter, and they were just unchallenged. They held Navy to 45 yards in that quarter. And we're counting now. This is the final possession of the game. A knee taken here by Navy. Our producers, Rob Reichley, Roy Alpers, our director. Freddie Kiger is our statistician. Skip McMillan is our spotter. And, of course, Kathy Campbell is our stage manager here. Thanks to all. A great win for the Duke Blue Devils, who are now 4-2 and face the bulk of their ACC schedule coming up. As Art said, they take on Virginia next. At Virginia and then at Virginia Tech. The game is not over. They're going to put about a 2nd back on. They're going to put Navy on the field for one more play. The fireworks went off. I hope they have some left. Listen to them in the end zone. They're still going on. We've got a 3rd quarterback in the game now for Navy, and that's the last play of this game. And it is finally over. So for David Cutcliffe and his team, a very efficient afternoon and a strong 2nd half in particular, as that just showed Navy no opportunity on the ground this afternoon and took care of business. They go to 4-2. 2 coaches with a great deal of respect for each other, commend the other's efforts. All right, more coming your way from Wallace Wade Stadium. It is Duke a winner 35-7. Back after this word from your local ACC station.